The Chicago suburbs are shifting in ways most people don't realize, and in the next decade, the way we live, work, and move around these communities will look completely different than what you're seeing today. And I'm not talking about just small changes. We're witnessing a massive pivot toward walkable downtowns, transit-friendly development, and thousands of new housing units near major job centers. These suburbs are more than growing. They're fundamentally transforming, and I'm covering all of it today. So let's break it down. The Chicago metropolitan area continues to see significant population shifts, with growth concentrated in the outer suburbs rather than the city itself. While we had over 9.6 million people in 2020 in the city, the Collier County suburbs were the ones that actually saw the biggest gains. And here's the reality. This isn't evenly distributed across all suburbs. Kendall County is booming, showing the fastest growth in the entire state with an 8.4% population increase from 2019 to 2023. Meanwhile, areas closer to the city are seeing more modest increases, but why is this happening? The housing inventory is incredibly tight right now, and we're looking at just 1.7 months supply of homes on the market, and this creates some of the most competitive conditions I've seen in years for buyers. Now let's talk about value growth. Suburban Cook County is seeing home values increase by around 8.4% compared to Chicago's 7.2%. This continues the pandemic era shift where people are prioritizing more space and suburban amenities. And I've got to tell you, I'm seeing this firsthand with my clients every single day. Speaking of growth, it's particularly concentrated in those far-flung suburbs like Plainfield, Hampshire, and Albert. So it's not a surprise that this population shift is reshaping entire communities and creating unprecedented opportunities for homebuyers and investors. And these demographic trends directly set the stage for the infrastructure investments we're about to explore. But before that, I'm Brandon Blankenship, a Chicagoland realtor helping people like you move in and around the Chicago suburbs, and I drop videos like this every single week, so you gotta make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as leave a like as well. So you might think Chicago's notorious traffic would only get worse with suburban growth, but here's the surprising twist, is that the region is pouring billions into transforming how we move around, and it's about to make some suburbs more accessible than ever before. Metro's 2025 capital program includes $34.9 million for station improvements, $48.1 million for track maintenance, and $46.2 million for bridge projects. And you know what's cool about these improvements is they're not simply about maintaining what we have, but preparing for increased ridership and better connecting our suburban community. There's also the Rebuild Illinois plan. This $50.6 billion 6-year initiative includes $32.5 billion for roads and bridges statewide, with major improvements throughout the Chicago area. I'm super impressed by the scale of investment here, and when I tell you more about housing market later, I'll show you exactly how to spot neighborhoods where property values could potentially jump 15 to 20% when these transit improvements are completed. Let me be honest about something. If you're commuting to downtown Chicago by car every single day from the far out suburbs, you're still looking at a significant time investment in your car. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys, and even with these improvements, the reality of Chicago traffic isn't going away completely. There's good news if you're a train commuter though. Metro provides extensive service connecting the western suburbs to Chicago, and here's where it gets better. From Oak Park to Chicago's Loop on the Green Line, you're looking at roughly around 20-ish minutes, and LaGrange and Westmont, using the BNSF and the UPW lines respectively, clock in at around 26 to 28 minute commute on the express train. That's absolutely incredible when you consider what you get in terms of housing value. Is there some concerning news though? Yes, the planned Red Line extension and Red/Purple modernization projects worth $2.1 billion faced a federal funding freeze in October 2025, though the CTA maintains the funding agreement is binding. But truthfully, these primarily impact city residents other than suburbanites. And speaking of O'Hare, the Terminal 5 expansion was completed in 2023 with 10 additional gates, and Terminal 3 improvements and concourse expansions are ongoing as well. This is major for suburbs like Schaumburg, Elk Grove Village, and Des Plaines, where proximity to the airport is a huge selling point for both residents and businesses. And this transit revolution directly supports the job growth that we're about to dive into next. Would you believe that some Chicago suburbs now have thriving tech employment centers? The employment landscape is completely shifting, and it's redefining which suburbs will thrive in the next decade. The Chicago tech workforce has grown 18% over the last decade, with median tech salaries now exceeding $105,000. And what most people don't realize is that these tech jobs are spreading throughout the suburban corridor, with over 2,100 tech companies in the Chicago area generating $50 billion annually to the local economy. we're seeing major employers like Google, Amazon, Motorola Solutions, Grubhub, Morningstar, and Sprout Social expanding their presence here in the suburbs. And many of these companies are setting up significant operations in suburban locations. I had a client who works at Google who just bought a home in the Western Suburbs specifically because they're splitting their time between the downtown office and suburban location. This hybrid approach is becoming super common and is reshaping where people choose to live. We're seeing growth in specific sectors like fintech with companies like Morningstar and Innova, health tech with Tempus and Village MD, logistics tech with ShipBob, and various food tech companies as well. These roles offer stable, well-paying career paths that influence where and how people live. The region has seen consistent job growth with construction employment adding jobs despite the national sector flattening. This is creating incredible opportunities in the suburbs, and it's directly fueling the dramatic transformation of specific suburbs. So let's talk about it. So imagine this, walking out your front door to a vibrant downtown with boutique shops, farm-to-table restaurants, and a train that whisks you to Chicago in about 30 minutes or less depending where you live. And these aren't downtown condos I'm describing. They're the new suburban reality unfolding across the Chicago area. In Naperville, there's a ULI study examining a nearly 15-acre area near the metro station for mixed-use redevelopment with housing, retail, and parking. This is a phased approach with recommendations presented in 2025. By focusing on transit-oriented growth, communities can dramatically enhance their character and livability. I also recently listed a home in downtown Wheaton that had multiple offers within the first 48 hours. And you know what's happening there? The Faywell, a 334-unit apartment complex that broke ground in July 2025 near their downtown metro station with first move-ins expected in fall 2026. It's also right across my office as well. And it's going to feature a resort-style pool, fitness center, bike parking, and direct prairie path access. This is changing the game for Wheaton, and when we explore the vision for 2035 later, you'll see how these developments are just the beginning of a much larger transformation. Some suburbs are positioned to essentially become small cities themselves, with all the amenities but none of the drawbacks. But let's continue with what's happening right now, and in Downers Grove, we're seeing a development at 750 Curtis Street replacing the old Village Hall, a 138-unit complex within walking distance to Main Street Metro. And I've got to tell you, the demand for this kind of housing in the suburbs is absolutely incredible right now. Schaumburg is developing the 90 North project, 325 acres, bringing businesses, residential, and entertainment options. The district at Viridian is attracting major employers, creating one of the most exciting live, work, play environments in the entire Chicago area. Speaking of Elmhurst, there's a 40-unit residential complex planned at 117 West Virginia Street on the downtown edge with ongoing efforts to attract boutique-style businesses and unique restaurants that got proposed. Aurora is seeing major housing projects targeting growth with development initiatives boosting both residential and business options. This area also shows steady home value appreciation with median home prices right around $313,000 to $340,000. Meanwhile, established corporate centers like Lyle and Oakbrook are focusing on mixed-use growth. Lyle is leveraging sales tax revenue for development, while Oakbrook maintains its business-friendly environment with developments like Oakbrook Commons that continue to attract major companies as well. This development surge directly enhances the downtown revitalization efforts we're about to see now. Remember those sleepy suburban downtowns with a pizza place, a hardware store, and not much else? They're actually becoming unrecognizable in the best way possible. The urban-suburban blend taking shape is creating some of the most livable communities in all of America. And it gets even more interesting. The downtown revitalization happening across these suburbs is absolutely changing the game. Naperville, Wheaton, and Downers Grove are prioritizing transit-oriented infill near metro station to reduce sprawl and create more walkable communities. Wheaton's downtown is experiencing a renaissance with new homes, streetscape improvements, and an expanded French market venue. The brick-paved streets and historic buildings create this amazing atmosphere that you just can't find in newer developments. Downers Grove has a comprehensive plan emphasizing mixed-use districts, commercial corridor revitalization, especially along Ogden Avenue, and infill development. Speaking of Elmhurst, they're positioning their downtown for boutique retail and restaurant environments rather than competing with nearby Oakbrook for national chains. This creates a completely different vibe and attracts families and residents all over to the area. Schaumburg and the surrounding suburbs are enhancing accessibility and business visibility along major corridors, and I've got to tell you, this approach to create a walkable, amenity-rich downtown area is absolutely changing the character of suburban living. For buyers who thought they had to choose between urban amenities and suburban space, these transformed communities offer an increasingly appealing middle ground. And these downtown transformations directly influence the housing market dynamics. So let me show it to you. Would it surprise you to learn that Chicago suburbs are seeing strong price growth? The market data reveals patterns that most buyers completely miss and opportunities that won't last long. The suburban median home price for detached homes is right around $365,000, which is up about 7.4% from last year. For attached homes like condos and townhouses, we're looking at about $262,000, which is up a substantial 11.5%. Year-to-date home sales are up about 1%, with the median price at right around $405,000, which is up 5.2% from last year. And we're seeing strong appreciation in select areas like Hoffman Estates and Streamwood, which is up 12.5%, and Palatine and Barrington, which is up 12.1%. There's significant activity in Aurora, Addison, Antioch, Oswego, and West Chicago, all showing solid growth. Homes are selling in an average of 56 days, but that number varies significantly because homes in desirable locations are moving much faster, like in just the first weekend. Competitive conditions with multiple offers are common on properties that are well priced and well maintained. We're seeing some mixed signals in the most recent data though. September 2025 showed Cook County prices at $350,000, up 2.9% year over year, while DuPage County median list price is right around $624,900. Lake and Will counties are showing some room for buyer negotiation for the first time in months, and this is creating some incredible opportunities for buyers who know where to look. I had clients recently who were able to negotiate off the asking price for a beautiful home in Lake County just recently, and something that would have been difficult earlier this year. But of course, the housing market is just a piece of the puzzle when we talk about quality of life factors. What if your suburb could offer the convenience of a city, the space of the countryside, and improved environmental sustainability? The transformation in how suburbs function is creating entirely new lifestyle possibilities that weren't even on the table a decade ago. Let's talk about another major shift happening in the suburbs. The overall quality of life improvements, transit-oriented development is becoming the standard strategy across virtually all suburbs, connecting housing, retail, and office near train stations. Complete street initiatives are transforming corridors with protected bike lanes, wider sidewalks, and pedestrian crossings as well. Illinois has committed to carbon-free electricity, and renewable energy investments are expanding across northern Illinois, and this is creating opportunities for more sustainable, energy-efficient housing options throughout all the Chicago suburbs. There's also a major emphasis on diverse unit types in new developments. This is creating more options for multi-generational families and addressing the missing middle housing that's been lacking in many suburban communities. Green spaces and parks are being prioritized in downtown revitalization projects to balance density with quality of life. The historic downtown in Hinsdale looks like something out of a movie with its brick-paved streets and locally owned boutiques. And those gorgeous Victorian mansions are absolutely stunning, and these lifestyle enhancements directly shape the vision of what Chicago suburbs will become by 2035. Imagine pulling into your suburban train station after a 25-minute express ride from downtown Chicago. As you step off, you're greeted not by a parking lot, but by a vibrant community hub with outdoor dining, boutique retail, and live music playing in a central plaza. This isn't a fantasy, it's already taking shape in Chicago's most forward-thinking suburbs. So what will the Chicago suburbs look like in 2035? Based on all the data trends we're seeing, here's my vision. We'll have thriving transit-oriented neighborhoods centered around metro stations with walkable shopping, dining, and entertainment options. You'll be able to live in a community where you can walk to most of your daily needs while still having easy access to Chicago when needed. We'll see tech-driven job centers attracting new opportunities outside of the East and West Coast without the Silicon Valley housing costs. The Chicago suburbs will continue to offer a compelling value proposition compared to those coastal markets. There will be diverse housing options, including luxury homes, townhomes, and diverse communities serving all life stages, and this diversity of housing is critical for creating vibrant, sustainable community. We'll have vibrant downtown districts with local businesses, cultural amenities, and community gathering spaces. And the days of suburbs being nothing but residential areas with strip malls will absolutely be over. The commuter experience will be improved with modernized transit infrastructure and accessible parking solutions as well. And we'll see balanced growth that respects suburban character while accommodating population increases and economic expansion. But most importantly, the suburbs will be positioned as premier locations for families, remote workers, and corporate headquarters seeking quality of life. The pandemic accelerated many of these trends, but what we're seeing now is fundamental restructuring of how we think about suburban living. Is it the closest suburb to Chicago that will see the most growth? No, but then again, the trade-off in home prices, lot sizes, and quality of life makes it worthwhile for many of my clients who've made the move to places like Plainfield, Oswego, or out to the Tri-Cities area like St. Charles. This vision represents a fundamental reimagining of suburban living around Chicago. For homebuyers thinking about their long-term quality of life and investment potential, understanding these transformation patterns is absolutely crucial. Across the Chicago area, suburbs are evolving fast. The ones investing in a walkable design, transit access, and tech-driven economies are setting a new standard for modern living, spacious yet connected. If you're thinking about getting ahead of the transformation, now is absolutely the time to explore your options. Property values in these forward-thinking suburbs are already climbing substantially, and the gap between them and their neighbors will only widen. My team and I would love to show you these communities before everyone else discovers what we already know, so shoot me an email or hit the link in the description down below and we can find a time to chat. Want to know exactly which Chicago suburb matches your specific lifestyle? Click the video I've linked on the screen next. Give me 20 minutes and you'll know exactly where to live in the Chicago suburb. I break down the Chicago suburbs into just 4 categories based on commute time, quality, amenities, and value. Don't miss it if you're trying to match your lifestyle to the right Chicago location. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.